Let's discuss now with former Democratic Senator Al Franken. He's the host of the Al Franken podcast, and with me here in Washington, CNN political commentator and Republican strategist Alice Stewart. Al, let me ask you this. Confidence in the Supreme Court is at an all-time low. I suppose the Chief Justice can say what he wants. He seems to be bristling at this criticism in a sort of, I guess, mild way. But nominees are now confirmed pretty much by party line votes now. And there does appear to be, based on what Vice President Kamala Harris was saying a few moments ago, there does appear to be some wind at the backs of Democrats heading into these fall midterms because of this decision that was overturned. Your thoughts?
I disagree with what the Chief Justice said. The legitimacy of the court was undermined when they wouldn't take up Merrick Garland. And you'll remember that McConnell said it was because it was during an election year. And you remember Lindsey Graham pledging that if a vacancy came open during an election year in 20, that he wouldn't vote for, they wouldn't take up a nominee. They've stolen 2 seats. The one that Merrick Garland wasn't given a hearing for, and the one that Coney Barrett was, where she was seated a week before the election. That destroyed the legitimacy of the court.
Alice, what do you think? Did Chief Justice Roberts sort of, he sort of ignored some of what Al is talking about there, and that there is a tremendous amount of controversy as to how this court got tilted in the direction of the far right.
Just to throw a little accuracy in some of what Al said there. Look, the Merrick Garland was held up because we had a divided government. We had a Democrat in the White House, and we had Republicans in control of.
That's not what was said. That's not what McConnell said.
But that's the way historically this has been. When you're in close to an election year and you have divided government.
That's not the way it's been historically done.
Yes, and when you have divided government, there typically is inclination to.
Tell me when this happened before.
When you're
Tell me when it happened before.
When you're. Well, Merrick Garland is certainly one. When there's a divided government,
no, before Merrick Garland,
they're not moving forward. When
tell me when this
government.
happened before.
Al, I'm telling you, this is what the Mitch.
Tell
McConnell
me when it
said.
happened before.
I can't.
You said this
give
is
you
what happened historically. Tell me when it happened before.
Look, this is the way that the Republicans went. Like, I can't give you an exact example of when this happened in the past.
No, you know why you
can't?
Tell you, because it hadn't happened before.
Look, the basis for not appointing him was because of that specific reason. But moving forward...
No, it wasn't. And McConnell explicitly said that it was the, quote, Biden rule, and he quoted a little piece of a speech that Biden had given in June of '80, and Biden said they wouldn't take up if they weren't consulted, and this was about someone resigning in June after a term of the court, which is very different than someone dying. Scalia died in February. And you saw, you guys, if you can find the tape, you can find Lindsey Graham saying, keep the tape. We will not take up a judge if someone dies, a nominee, if someone dies in an election year in the next election. This is total hypocrisy, and you actually, I'm surprised that you're claiming this, and you can't come up with an example because there is none.
Look, to get back to the point of the conversation here.
No,
Kamala Harris,
this is the point.
We're talking about Kamala Harris and her calling the current Supreme Court justices activist justices because she doesn't like the outcome of their ruling. And when they made their decision on Roe v. Wade, they looked at the precedent and they looked at Roe v. Wade and said it was egregiously wrong from the start. And they looked at the constitutional aspect of this and saw that there was no constitutionally protected right for an abortion listed in the Constitution. That's why they took it out. And the most important thing here is that this took an important issue like abortion out of the hands of 9 unelected justices and put it back in the hands of elected officials at the state level, which is exactly where it should be. And the only reason that Kamala Harris says they're activists is because she doesn't like the outcome of their rule.